Now, let's take a look at the recording process.
In this section, we'll look at 3 fundamental recording disciplines: footage handles, overlaps, and shot motion.
You may wonder how long you should keep the camera rolling for each shot. That's actually a really important question.
You'll always want 10 seconds of pad at the beginning and end of each clip you shoot. That way you'll have plenty of footage to work with when you're editing. Always shoot at least 30 seconds of clean video, even if you only plan on using a 3-second clip.
DSLR cameras have a maximum clip length of 29 minutes, so you can't just press record on an hour-long news conference and forget it. If you're filming something longer than 29 minutes, you'll want to keep an eye on your camera so you can hit record again when that time is up.
Motion shots like zooms and pans communicate the relationship between objects by shifting the viewer's focus from one area to another.
They also work well when following a particular action, but if the camera is not perfectly smooth, then it just distracts the viewer. Choosing a clear starting and ending point will help keep the movement smooth. And for every motion shot you record, shoot a backup still shot too. That way you still have an alternative shot if you need it.
Now for a few more important tips.
For both man on the street and formal interviews, stay close to the camera lens. That way, as the subject is facing you, they will be looking slightly off camera instead of giving you an unsightly profile shot.
Always leave a little extra nose room in the direction a person is facing and minimize the space behind them.
When shooting over-the-shoulder shots, remember the rule of thirds in that photography begins with the feet. By moving the camera, you achieve the 2/3 to 1/3 ratio.
Use different size shots throughout an interview to create a visual rhythm. Remember, close-ups create a more intimate feel. When shooting B-roll, capture different perspectives of each image to create a visual rhythm in editing, instead of a single lengthy shot.
And finally, one of the most important rules of filming, and one that's often difficult for students to grasp: crossing the axis.
The axis is an imaginary line that fixes the position of the camera in relation to the subjects and creates spatial continuity.
When shooting movement, be careful not to cross the axis or the subject will appear to move in opposite directions. By not crossing the axis, you can move the camera freely for alternate shots and keep the motion in the same direction.
That cabin was built by Wyatt Earp's family. This property has huge historical significance.
Oh yeah!
When you're using a tripod, let go of the tripod once you're rolling. I always got the shakes.
First of all, you have to be really sensitive to what people are going through and not be intrusive, and be really clear about the fact that you really appreciate it, that we'll just take a moment to share what their thoughts are. You also sometimes have to ask really obvious questions because you often don't get obvious answers, like what's going through your mind as you look at this smoke. Now in this case, he was a very matter-of-fact guy, and he just said, this has been my whole life for 20 years, you know, and but you sometimes have to take a risk and ask those kinds of questions to see what they want to tell you. Also, now that we know that this is a real historic place, it also adds another whole dimension to the story, that not only are we losing a home, this man's home for 20 years, we're also losing an important piece of history. And that we're used to hearing the firefighters are always there to take care of you. But when the situation is this severe, as he has seen and we've seen in other fires just this year, the firefighters say this is not defendable. That's those words. Those are their words. And so that's why they decide to leave.
I got enough. We gotta go.
We now have 26 minutes to get on the air, and in those 26 minutes, we need to get probably a mile down the road, establish a signal. 6 miles down the road, establish a signal, and throw together a story, and have it ready to go.
You're welcome, Alan. Do you see my editor?
Two shots butted up, first with a 3410. Fireman said they ain't staying.
We're gonna get out of here.
Gary Hopkins. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Now, this dangerous and fast-moving fire has forced the entire town of Wrightwood to evacuate.
CBS 2's Randy Page is there. Randy.
Well, Paul, if Lyle Creek is safe, Wrightwood is not safe at this hour. Here's why. Take a look at this column of smoke. Now, there is a little bit of good news in this, in that you can see that the smoke is going straight up. It's not being blown in our direction, but we are in the direction of Wrightwood, and they're very much concerned about it coming right up this canyon and around the back side of this ridge and getting to the city. That's why they're busy with bulldozers trying to cut line. Let's take a closer look right down in the bottom there where we're looking right now. This is where we just came back from. This is a homestead that was been lived here since the 1800s. The Clyde family and Wyatt Earp's family living down in there, a historic home which is threatened. Now it escaped damaged in an earlier fire. But it looks like they may not be able to save it this time if the fire comes this way. We spoke to a caretaker who's lived in this house for 20 years, and here's what he had to say.
Firemen said they're staying, they're gonna get out of here. So, you know, last time in the fire, 2009, they stayed and they built all the buildings, and I built a big fire break like I did there, only bigger, but and they stayed, you know, and saved it. But now they're saying, yeah, we're leaving. So I don't know.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, well, you know, I guess that's life.
Gary Hopkins says he will stay to the very last minute, but he does intend to leave if he has to. Now, as we take a live look at the smoke behind this ridge, that is the direction of Wrightwood, and that's where a lot of work's going on the other side of this ridge as they try to cut line to try to keep that fire from getting to the town of Wrightwood. So far, things are looking pretty good, as I'm told, but as we know, in a fire that is so uncontained as this one, anything can happen. Paul, back to you.
All right, Randy. So what conditions are crews facing out there on the fire lines?
Well, our CBS 2 meter.
A photographer's craft can take years to fully develop. Our goal is to help you with the fundamentals right now, and the rest will definitely come with practice.
And styles vary between news, sports, entertainment, and documentary. They're constantly evolving based on the look and feel a producer wants for their show. But the principles remain the same.
And we'll help you learn them. Welcome to the Media Center.
That's gotta be 5 seconds.
Hey.
Oh, hooray.